Mystery UFO attack on Air Force base left guards screaming and babbling. A former U.S. Air Force captain and his colleagues were sworn to secrecy after seeing a disc-shaped object that allegedly shut down the U.S. nuclear missiles. A U.S. Air Force captain recalled a terrifying moment in which his nuclear base came under attack from a UFO, and he described how guards were left frightened, screaming and babbling by the bizarre sighting, which has been covered up for more than 50 years. Robert Salas, a retired U.S. Air Force captain, was heading to Malmstrom Base in Montana back in 1967. He and his colleagues saw 8 orange-colored lights over the base, which was holding 10 nuclear missiles. Mr. Salas described how guards dashed for safety as an oval-shaped craft disarmed the nukes. In National Geographic's new series UFOs, Investigating the Unknown, to be released this week, Mr. Salas told the show, "I kind of dismissed it. I even said, 'You mean like UFOs?' About 5 minutes later, he calls back, he's screaming. When I hung up the phone, I thought we were under attack. We could see the lights going from green to red all across the board, meaning the missiles were inoperable. Despite the fact that a large part of the U.S. nuclear capability was wiped out during the incident, it was never investigated by authorities. The staff present at the time also had to sign documents swearing them to secrecy. 3 years after the incident, the U.S. Air Force stopped its UFO investigation, saying no reported sighting had ever posed a threat. Mr. Salas said that was certainly a lie. The subject of UFOs has been a big talking point in the States recently. Earlier this year, the Senate Armed Services Subcommittee on Emerging Threats and Capabilities discussed recent sightings of UFOs, including one in the Middle East. Footage showed during the hearings saw a strange orange-shaped object fly past a U.S. military aircraft. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, who heads the agency, talked lawmakers through the video footage of a UFO sighted over the Middle East and said, "This is essentially all the data that we have of this event." And he added that it's going to be virtually impossible to fully identify that just based off that video, and it's considered an unresolved case. After the hearing, Republican Party Senator Marco Rubio and Democrat Mark Warner wrote a 5-point letter to the Department of Defense in Washington, demanding that the process for witnesses to come forward be made easier. They said, "To date, we have seen no efforts to communicate the existence of the secure process to the public. We request that you provide us an update on the plan to publicize the secure process for witnesses to come forward." Rubio also told Fox News, he said, "What's worse, our government spent too many years ignoring or downplaying the threat. Thankfully, that is beginning to change. But as we saw earlier this year, the defense and intelligence communities are still struggling." Mr. Rubio was referring to the recent incident when the U.S. shot down a Chinese spy balloon. And he said, senior Pentagon leaders said publicly that 2 of the UAPs were almost certainly not balloons, but Congress has not been provided the rationale or sensor data to support this unprecedented action. In this instance, we shot down multiple UAPs, and it's not clear to this day we know with confidence what they were. We stood up the AARO office to address such such an instance to rapidly aggregate and analyze the data and apply the scientific process. We need the Biden administration to fully empower the AARO office and comply with the guidance set out in the financial year 2023 NDAA. FY23 NDAA stands for Fiscal Year 2023 National Defense Authorization Act, which includes clauses about establishing secure pathways for witnesses and whistleblowers to come forward with their stories. The retired Navy senior chief said that what the senators are asking for is likely what I would need to submit. And this is on Express UK by Charlie Bradley. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.